Ruby Bradley was told when she joined the U.S. Army Nurse Corps in 1934 that she would never have to go to war. So how'd she find herself serving in not one, but two wars, and for years held as a prisoner of war? 6 years after joining the Army, 2nd Lieutenant Ruby Bradley was transferred halfway around the world to a station hospital at Fort Mills on a small island in the Philippines. The next year, in 1941, she was reassigned as the head nurse at Camp John Hay on the main island. In December of that year, Japanese forces attacked Pearl Harbor, launching the United States into World War II. 3 weeks later, Camp John Hay was struck by Japanese aircraft. Ruby fled alongside other nurses toward Manila, the capital, but they stopped along the way to care for civilian refugees, leading to their capture by Japanese ground troops. It was December 28, 1941. For over 3 years, Bradley and other U.S. Army nurses were held as prisoners of war. Even though she was detained, Bradley didn't stop doing what she knew best, caring for the sick and wounded. Nurse Bradley, along with other nurses, performed 250 operations and delivered 13 babies while imprisoned. They made their own thread out of hemp to use as sutures for stitching lacerations of fellow prisoners. Bradley smuggled in medical equipment to use during procedures, and she would often go hungry, choosing to share her rations with starving children at the internment camp. Ruby Bradley and the imprisoned Army nurses could have wallowed in their misery as prisoners, with no hope of rescue. But instead, they chose to focus on what they could control, continuing their service providing care to others. On February 3, 1945, more than 3 years after being taken captive, Bradley and her fellow POWs were liberated when U.S. troops captured the encampment. Undoubtedly, some U.S. prisoners were able to walk out of that camp only because of the care they received from Nurse Bradley. Years later, during the Korean War in 1950, Bradley was sent to serve as chief nurse for the 171st Evacuation Hospital. By November of that year, a surging Chinese army had pushed south and American forces were retreating. Bradley once again found herself in a life-or-death situation. Her hospital was forced to evacuate all personnel and patients. Ruby, in true fashion, refused to leave until every single patient had safely been loaded onto the evacuation aircraft, making her the last to board the final plane out. It turned out to be an extremely close call. As her plane began to depart down the runway, the ambulance she had just ridden in exploded behind her. In 1958, as a result of her bravery, selflessness, and heroism, Bradley was promoted to colonel, one of the first 3 Army nurses to ever hold that permanent rank. She also received the Florence Nightingale Medal, the highest international honor one can receive from the Red Cross. But perhaps the greatest distinction was from her fellow POWs, who, grateful for her continued medical service while imprisoned, referred to her and her fellow nurses as the angels in fatigues. Click subscribe to easily find more 3MB videos in the future, and to receive notifications when new videos are posted, click the alert button. If you know of someone who would appreciate this video, click the share button to share it via email, text, or on social media. When faced with hardship, when it looks as if all hope is lost, do one good thing that you know you can do, and press forward from there. Early in her career, Ruby Bradley chose a life of service, both as a member of the military serving her country, and as a nurse serving the sick and injured. There are many ways to serve others, and there is always a need. How can you use your gifts to serve?